Hi, EDU 279. So as I begin my phonics mini lessons, the first one that I would like to share is beginning consonant sounds in words. To do this, I would begin with the whole group setting of a class, and I would probably have the alphabet displayed either on a chart or on the whiteboard. So I have my alphabet displayed here, and I have already differentiated the vowels in pink here from the consonants in blue. So as a class together, I as the teacher would demonstrate, and then the students could echo, or we could all do it together as we got more familiar. And I would go through each consonant and we would talk about the sounds that the consonants make, as in B, B, C, K, D, D, F, and so on through the alphabet. So as I did this with the students, this would be the I do and we do as we eventually get more comfortable with doing it together. We do it together. So that would be the first part of the lesson. And then to further this activity, I would explain that these are beginning consonant sounds in words. These letters are all consonants, and you can see them at the beginning of any word. So I have already prepared here two wonderful worksheets. This one is on the beginning letter sound B, as in B, B. And then this one is on the beginning letter consonant sound M, as in M. So let's begin with the B, B. Here I have demonstrated bus, as bus begins with B, B. And I have these little flap cards. Some of them, they all flap up. And under the word that you see the picture of what is written. So for this activity, the students, we would begin together and I would demonstrate. So I have already done so here to speed this process up a little bit. I would start with the first one to help all the students out, and we'd read it together by sounding out the letters that we see, and we'd recognize that this word is boat, B-O-T, boat. And if they recognize that the beginning consonant sound is the B that we are working on, the B, 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 then they could flip up that little flap and color in the boat. So when they get to the next one and they see that the word is cat, cat, they're going to flip up that little flappy there, and it's not going to be colored at all because cat does not start with B, 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 B. So there, we start off this assignment here, this activity, by working together, and I will do the first one with them. I do it, we do it together, and then eventually I send this out on their own and they do it for the rest of them. At the end, they get to color their bus after I've checked them and see if they colored the right ones, and that's how they complete their part on their own. Same thing with the M sound here. I have listed at the top, this is a beginning letter consonant sound worksheet. So I have already demonstrated. I will begin at the front of the classroom, and each student will have this worksheet in front of them. And we will begin by looking at the word mop here. And I would let them help sound it out with me. I would begin by telling them the word mop. We would sound it out together. M-A-P, mop. And then we determine if that beginning consonant sound right there is the that we are working on. And when we do determine that together, we do it together. We would lift it up and we'd color the mop. Very pretty. So then when we go to the next one, the students would do this more together, and we determine that this is the word cake. Cake. We lift it up, we see that it is not colored because it does not start with the beginning consonant sound And then I'd release them to do the rest on their own, as in moon, they would go and they'd end up coloring this. I have not colored it yet because they do this part on their own. So once again, just to recap for the beginning consonant sound activity, I would first start with every student down either on the carpet or at their desk so they can all focus on these blue letters, which are all consonants, and I would tell them and state to them that these are consonants and these can be found at the beginning of words, and then we'd eventually work through activities and worksheets such as this. That's my first mini phonics lesson. Thank you for listening. Bye. So for my second phonics mini lesson, I'll be focusing on short vowel sounds, and the main materials that I will use for this lesson are vowel cards that represent short vowel sounds and have pictures that correlate with the short vowel sound. And I have already came up with 2 lists that we can work through of words that have short vowel sounds in them that we can demonstrate and work through with the students. So to begin this activity, I will spend lots of time teaching students these short vowel sounds. I will go back to my alphabet that I used previously and explain that the letters in pink are vowels, A, E, I, O, and U. But when they are short vowels, they do not say their letter name. They say different sounds. So I will begin by using these cards, which I have made, and they have each of the vowels with different pictures that represent that vowel sound. So for beginning, I will be instructing them, and it'll be the I do phase. And I will say this is the letter A, and the short vowel sound is A, as in apple. And then all together, we will work together in the we do phase to echo after me and say apple. We can do like the roller coaster activity where we do apple, apple. That type of thing. That will be the we do phase. We do it together after I have instructed that this is the apple. Then I'll move on to the E, and I'll explain that this is F as in elephant, and we can do that activity again as the we do phase, the elephant. Then the next letter would be I, as in I. The short vowel sound for I is I, and I would demonstrate that as an igloo. Then the next one would be O, and that is an octopus, octopus. And of course, every single time that I instruct the students, that is the I do phase, and then all together we, as the we do phase, are working through by them echoing it back to me, we together. And then the last one is U, as an as an umbrella. And many people like to do up for this one, but I just like umbrella, so that's why I did this one, as an umbrella. So another cool thing that I would probably do when using these cards is to have the students focus on their mouth posture whenever they are saying it, especially for like O, as an octopus, Their mouth is open like an O. So that's something very specific that I would hope to teach the students. And they themselves, as in the we do face, can like focus on their mouth posture. So after we have demonstrated this, we would go back and we'd work more specifically on words that can be used with these short vowel sounds. So as I've already have them typed up here, we would just focus on one at a time. So let's say that we're just focusing on the word sit here. As in the I do phase, I would have sit written up on the board, and I'd instruct the students by telling them it, and I'd work my way through by saying this says it. What can I remember the I, as in when I see the letter I see an igloo, and that must be that sound. So then I'd go to the next one, and I'd probably still be in the I do phase, and it's cut. So I'd write this on the board as in C-U-T, and when I see the U, I can sound this word out. I can go k-t. But when I see the U, I might not know what sound that makes. So when I see the U, I probably think umbrella, and I go umbrella. So it must make the sound and I'd go k-t, cut. So that's how I'd instruct it. And then we'd do a couple of these words together, but I'd write them on the board, and then we'd work on them as a class together, probably sitting on the carpet. And then when we get to this list, I would space them out a little bit more, and I'd have the students individually call back to me as the you do phase what they think the word is by isolating that individual vowel sound. And I'd use these cards as pointers. So when we get to the word tap, and a student struggles, and I call out one child to give me the answer and what that word is, I'd be like, that's the apple, so it must be tap. And that's how I'd instruct the short vowel sounds. Thank you. The last phonics mini lesson that I have prepared to share with you guys is on long vowel sounds. So as I just did short vowel sounds, it would be very easy for me to go straight into long vowel sounds with the class or vice versa, but I would prefer to do short vowel sounds first and then specifically teach how putting an E at the end of a word can change that word all the way around to having a short vowel sound in the middle, from that to a long vowel sound in the middle. So I would pull back out my alphabet here and have it written on the board again or in a pocket chart, and I would again remind the students that these letters in pink, A, E, I, O, and U, are the vowel sounds. So for this, it would be very specific and important that I teach the students that long vowel sounds are what you see. If you see A in the alphabet, its long vowel sound does say A. E is E, I is I, O is O, and U is U. So when I teach the students, I will not use these cards, because when you say apple, you don't say apple, because that's what the long vowel sound A would be, is apple. So those cards not be used. I would just represent A, E, I, O, and U, and teach the students that when you see these vowels in their long vowel form, you say the letter that you see. So the easiest way for me to teach the students this, using the gradual release method, is beginning with writing these words that we had just used for the short vowel sounds one by one on the board. So the first word of the list that we just used for the short vowel sounds is tap. So I would write tap. Here's the word tap. So after I have the word tap, I can teach the students this cool little trick, and this is one of my favorite activities. When you smack an E on the word tap, it changes that A right there from an I to an actual A. So if this was up on the board and I added an E, which I'm going to represent in a different color here because this is a short vowel, and then you add the E, which is what we're specifically working on to make these long vowel sounds, it would make the word a whole different word from tap to tape, and that vowel in the middle changes its sound. So I would express that this is no longer tap, this is tape, and you hear that A. So I would teach the students that they say A if the word has an E at the end like this. So again, that was the first word, and then I'd move on in the I do phase with the second word, which is hop. So I'd write the word hop on the board. And I already have these written out on my little note card here, or typed out, and I have the vowel sounds in the middle that I want to be working on, and the E underlined because that's what we're smacking on there. So I have the word hop written on here, and then, as the students will get to do in just a minute on their own, we will smack that E on there, and when I smack that E on there, it changes hop to hope. And what do you hear with that? It changes to O. So that is now a long vowel sound, O. That is the I do phase. So we do a couple of these as the we do phase, and we work on them together as a group, and I'd ask the students as a group, probably still together on the carpet. So the next word would be mat, and I'd write this over here. Mat, and you hear right now that's the short vowel sound that we just learned. And then I'd take that E and smack it on there, probably even on my board. I'd pretend to smack it. We put that E on there, and then we practice that being an A. And we do a couple of those together as a group, and that would be we do. So finally, I'd give a list of these to the students, and I'd let them practice. I have a bunch of these either printed or written out. These are just the E's, and I'd physically let the students, when they have their word, smack the E on there and practice changing that short vowel sound to a long vowel sound, and then telling me specifically one by one individual, or on a worksheet writing that as a long vowel sound and pronouncing that with me so I can understand they know that is the long vowel sound when you smack the E onto the end of the word. And that's the fun way that the students get to smack the E on and see that differentiate and change between a short vowel sound and a long vowel sound. Thank you.